Thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app.
Tell people to make some noise and they will shake the ground for you. And it's awesome.
I want to talk all about this, but let's just take you back a little bit. So you've lived in Dukhan, which is the other side of Qatar, which sometimes we travel along that long road and we get to the other end and it's virtually a QP area, right?
Yes, that's true. That's I literally grew up inside that compound. The first 17 years of my life were in there. I was in school. I went to Dukhan English school over there, and a lot of the people that I went to university with are the same people that I went to nursery with. Imagine that. And we're born in the same hospital, around like 10 days apart, me and my very close friends. And we went to the same school all the way up to 6th form, graduated, went to the same university. A lot of us did sports science because that's, I mean, living in that compound on the beach, the only thing like that we were up to is basically sport, which is, I mean, it was like a good thing because we could have been up to a whole lot of other stuff, but sports is what we were up to.
So what is your sports? It's like, because I know that, but because we both know Dr. Mahfood, and he was the one that first introduced me to you. And when we started having our first conversation to say, look, would you like to come on the show? I was listening to your story and it was just amazing. So we both know Dr. Mahfood, but what was your sport that what was it that that got you into sports?
I was overweight and I enjoyed exercising. Firstly, I was slightly less healthy, and so I got into the long distance endurance sports. I was doing a lot of triathlons, biathlons, but that was after I did a lot of the long distance running that I was doing with the intention of losing weight. And when I did lose weight, I was just addicted to the feeling of, you know what, I just ran 10 kilometers today. I am soaked in sweat. You know, there's that desire in me that I just want to go out and feel that burn. And then later on, when I basically couldn't get myself out of that, you know, I was like a serotonin junkie from exercise. I was like, this is what I want to do. 2009 specifically is when I was like, I like martial arts, and I really got into martial arts. Started doing boxing. I was looking for a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, and I finally found one. When I moved out when I was 17. I was training Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I trained until now. So I would say my current sport, I started off doing like endurance sports, but then I switched to martial arts. I'm doing specifically Brazilian jiu-jitsu now.
I'm going to go back to, because you just said that you had a problem with your weight. At what age was that?
That was so I had a bacterial meningitis when I was around 8 years old, and when I came out of hospital, I was very sedentary. During playtime, I wasn't able to go outside in the sun because I would get a lot of migraines and headaches. So I didn't really get to be part of the like playing around the playground and stuff. So it made me put on weight around 8 years up to 15. So from 8 to 15 years old, I was a little overweight, and so around when you're 15 years old, your friends, no matter how close you are to them, they start wanting to hang around and, you know, impress the girls and stuff. And I wasn't such an impressive guy, you know. So I started being left behind a little bit. So I would just do my sports. I would go running. I would go to the gym and just do all that stuff. And everybody that I grew up with knows that Abood's probably in the gym. Abood's probably in the gym. Yeah.
It's funny you should say that, and it's funny how it happen to people in life. You just mentioned Johan, and incredible guy, absolutely incredible, really top man, and he got into golf purely because his brother was getting afternoons off school, Mohammed. So he was having afternoons off school. Johan said to him, "Why are you getting afternoons off school? Because I want some." Yeah. And so he said, "Oh, I'm going to play golf." And that just led him into a whole career into playing amateur golf, where he's playing virtually off scratch now. And it's exactly. So yours was just the chase after the girls. That's what you're telling me.
No. Maybe you're right. Yeah. It was more of if I'm not the kind of guy who would like. I felt unwanted there, so I would just go and do something that I enjoyed.
No, and it's on a serious note. And why I'm pushing you on this is because there's obviously because of this lockdown, and it's kind of, there's a lot of things happening, and we want to get our kids more active, right? And there's going to be kids, because we do a street soccer where we want to try to appeal to the overweight side of the community, just to kind of, because it's a smaller pitch and it gets them used to kind of running in high cardiovascular, so that they don't, when they go on a smaller pitch, they don't think that they're going to exert themselves much, and they can participate. So this is what I was trying to get with you, is that what advice would you give to those parents or those children to look up and say, hey, listen, if you are overweight, just take it gradually, just take it step by step. It can be done.
Exactly. What I want to say is, firstly, I want to approach the parents and I want to tell them that the mindset, in order to motivate somebody to do something, you always want them to do it because they want to do it, and not because they're going to get something out of it at the end. You want them to be intrinsically motivated. You want them to have self-determined motivation and not an extrinsic motivation. They're not burning 200 calories on the treadmill a day so that they can get an extra, video game or something. You want them to train because they want to train and they find joy in training, and it's an intrinsic, something from inside them that drives them towards doing that. And the only way to take your child from not wanting to exercise to wanting to exercise because they want to, not because they're going to get a reward, is to create an environment that satisfies their needs for three things. One is autonomy. They have to have the freedom to make the decision themselves when they want to train and how they want to train. Number two is competence. Like you said, they need to be able to feel like, I can do this exercise. Don't put them on an 11-a-side pitch like you said, because they're going to say, they're going to be like, I can't run from the goal side to the other goal side even. So you have to give them something that they can do. Competence, that's the second thing. And the third thing is relatedness. Surround them by people that relate to them, or give them something that relates to them. If they like going to the beach, or if they like nature, or if they like video games, for example, put them in a group of people that have the same kind of mindset, maybe the same age, the same interests. So to satisfy these three things that are competence, give them something they know how to do, autonomy, give them the freedom to make the choices, and the third thing is relatedness, to surround them with people that relate to them. This is going to develop something inside them that's called self-determined motivation, where they are going to be like, hey, when am I going to go to that class? Well, when am I going to go to this? Can I go do an extra exercise session today? And this is what you want to do. This is called the self-determination theory, and it's something that a lot of exercise psychologists and specialists use for the coaches, and not for the athlete themselves, because the coach is the one that needs to develop this environment for the young child themselves. So this is the message that I'm giving out to the parents right now.
Seriously, I can't tell you, because I've got the hairs on. When I get enthralled with these interviews, and you've just given me the hairs on the back of my neck standing up, because the way that you put that into a message, and you could, I don't think anybody could have put it any better. And it's like, it's from experience that you've gone through, and it's just invaluable, that bit of advice. Honestly, that's brilliant for sharing that.
Thank you. I can't say that I wrote that theory, but I can tell you I tried it out and it worked.
It's brilliant, because look at you now. Okay, so let's start moving on. So your friends, and you've loved the sport, and I can see Hisham, because Hisham's a very sports orientated. He's one of our top fans, and also Bosco's here. But it's like, it's just getting into those groups, and then once you start getting in the groups, you start being influenced. And as you said, you go through all the period of schools, and and you get involved in the different groups. What other sports did you like? So you like the karate. What other things did you get involved with?
I liked, like I said, I did the long distance endurance sports, like biathlons and triathlons. My swimming wasn't as good as my running and cycling, so I was doing mostly the biathlons with the cycling and the running. I ended up doing combat Aikido. Was my first martial art that I ever did. I was a brown belt in that, and I was teaching that to my friends at university. I was getting all these big bodybuilders, and as you can see, I'm not a big, strong guy. I'm just a tall, lanky guy, but they were like, how are you doing this? We want to learn. So they would just come to the dojo, and I would just train those guys. Combat Aikido, boxing. I did a lot of boxing. I had a Scottish teacher, IT teacher at school, who would teach me boxing, and yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But because I studied sports science and because I grew up doing sports, I love football. I love futsal, volleyball, tennis, table tennis. All teams, like a lot of team sports I enjoy, a lot of individual sports I enjoy. But I want to take you back to one point.
Yeah.
One point when it came to what made me change my mind about, okay, I got to change something about how I am right now. Back when I was overweight. Can I say that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So there's a pattern of behavior that I was doing that led me to be unhealthy and led me to be a little overweight. And that was me overeating, me being inactive, and so on and so forth, and me being unaware that there was a problem in the first place. So what happens is you're at a certain point where you're either aware, but you don't think it's worth making a change for, or you're completely unaware. I was at the point where I was aware because my friends would call me Fat Joe because I used to make a lot of rap music, and I would just freestyle on the spot and just go on. And there was a rapper at the time called Fat Joe, so they'd see me and be like, yo, Fat Joe. So I knew there was a problem. I knew there was something going on, but I didn't think that it was important enough for me to make a change. Now there was that one point where I was walking outside the medical center, which was not too far from my house. I saw a reflection of myself sideways. And I pulled my shirt forward, and I could see that I'm not what I think I look like. I'm a little bit bigger than what I thought I looked like. And at that point, I reached a level of suffering that was enough for me to decide to make that change. There's a triangle of behavioral change. At the tip of the triangle of behavioral change is suffering enough in order to make a change. And then if yes, you make the change. If no, you don't make the change. Or seeing a reward that's big enough that makes you make a change. Now you can be having unhealthy patterns, whether it's drinking pop a lot, a lot of simple sugars, having a lot of candy, all that stuff, and you're like, yeah, I'm a little overweight. And then one day you get really sick and you go to the doctor and he tells you got diabetes. There's that instant suffering. There's that instant impact that, you know what, I really need to make that change. And sometimes as human beings, we need that, like, reality to be put in front of our faces in order to think, you know what, we need to make this change. And so even if we don't feel the impact of the behavior that we're doing, if we know that it's wrong, there are certain strategies that we can take on. There are certain methodologies that we can take. A lot of the guys that that you'll talk to will say you need to be motivated. You need to just get motivated. But you can't just go up to somebody and say, "Hey, man, be motivated." Like I can't go to my friend and be like, "Yo, Azam, get motivated. I want you to be motivated right now." He's gonna be like, "Okay, I'm still not motivated." You have to take them through like a step by step in order for them to reach that motivated state. There's a theory for behavioral change that has 5 stages. You do a questionnaire, or you speak to somebody who tells you what stage you're on based on the stage that you're at. He will tell you what the next stage after that is. And I think it's very important for us to seek specialists. And there's a major confusion between seeking help for things like this and people thinking that, oh no, I'm fine, I'm healthy, I'm mentally healthy, I don't need to see a counselor or someone like that. I think it's absolutely important for us to see counselors, and they will, pinpoint certain things that will help us change our behavior and understand and explain to ourselves why we do the things that we do. And awareness is a big part for the change.
I can resonate with some of these things that you're saying. I was 23 stone. I was quite big. I couldn't sit in a chair, a normal standard chair, because I was very big. And you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you don't actually, and you fool yourself because you don't actually see that person that is overweight until you realize. And as you said, you just all of a sudden, and I keep on saying to this, take one step at a time. And I suppose for me, it was 1 year I'd done Ramadan. and I fast, and I lost so much weight, and it just felt good. And then I just wanted to make sure that I could, and it wasn't for anybody else I was doing it for. I was doing it for myself, maybe my grandkids and my children and my wife, obviously, but I just wanted a difference. And no matter, because I can remember myself being, oh, you know what, I'm happy with my size. And if somebody joked about it or somebody said something, it was okay, because I can live with this. At least I'm happy. But unfortunately, if you was honest with yourself, you're not happy. And you've got to feel that bottom before you can start making steps towards those. So again, what you said there, I can resonate with. I understand exactly what you're saying, and there's going to be I didn't know this podcast was going to go in this way, because what you said so far is absolutely crucial for somebody that has got problems in these areas to understand that they have got problems, whether it's with the kids, whether it's with themselves, is a way that start taking those steps and understanding the process. So honestly, those things that you shared are just incredible for people. Those things that, and you don't get it from everybody on these talk things. But with what you said today is brilliant.
I'm grateful. I want to give you and your audience this tool, make it a little bit more practical and specific, rather than say there's a tool that can help with and it takes you through the stages and so on. I want to introduce you quickly to something called the theatrical model of behavioral change. It's just 5 steps. The first one is understanding that there's a problem. The second one is making a decision whether, okay, is it important for me to make that change or not? The third step is preparation. And this preparation could take a week up to 3 weeks even. After preparation, there's action, and after action, there's maintenance. A lot of people are at the second stage where they are thinking it's not important for me to make enough to move forward, to move to the next step, which is the preparation. Like for me, since the pandemic of the quarantine, I was like, okay, I need to use this time wisely and do things and be more active and so on. And I have started working out 3 times. And the total amount of times that I've worked out in this whole time is only 3 times, because every time I start, the next day I stop. Every time I start, the next day I stop. My preparation just wasn't enough. My preparing myself in order, I reach the stage of action and then I don't go to the maintenance. So it's just understanding where I am in order to have that consistency and that maintenance. And yeah, those are the 5 steps: understanding, having the awareness, making the decision to make change, preparation, whatever that preparation is, action, and then maintaining that action. And there are steps and stages to move you from one step to the next.
Honestly, thanks for sharing that. Now I'm going to take the mood a little bit more now, more fun, enjoy. Well, that was fun and enjoyable, but I'm going to take you on your steps. Where how did you get into presenting? From what you're following, how did you all of a sudden say presenting, acting is where I'm going to go?
I just loved holding a microphone since I was 12 years old. I'd just go on a stage and just talk, you know. I mean, my favorite type of music, I like all types of music and I appreciate all types of music, but I love rap music because it's all about talking and just making up words on the spot. I got my first video coming out very, very soon. I finished shooting it and it's going to be coming out very soon, so keep an eye on that. It's called Unprecedented Times 2020. It's going to be coming out. But I just enjoyed being on the mic in front of people. I would just do it with my friends. They'd be playing FIFA and I'd be like, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at the Azam International Arena. We are playing 2020 FIFA. It's Tottenham Hotspurs versus Manchester United. Here we go. And my friends would just absolutely enjoy it. And so there was like a tournament in university. I would just go out there and I'd be like, you guys got a mic anywhere? And they'd be like, yeah, it's over there. We just announce when, you know, the winners and stuff like that. I was like, can I commentate?
That's brilliant.
And I just could not. I absolutely enjoyed it so much, to the point that people were like, hey, we want to pay you for this. And
no.
I kept on just doing it and doing it and doing it, to the point where I was being called to MC basketball 3v3s, and because I studied sports science, I understand the rules and all of that. So I was MCing and presenting and commentating a lot on live sporting events. I started doing all the Red Bull events, And just being involved in the sports community in university, I already knew a lot of the athletes, so they would come to me and we'd have conversations and stuff like that. So we had a very close relationship, and whenever there would be any sporting events, they'd come to me personally. They'd be like, Abood, look, the federation's doing this, you want to come and announce? And so I was doing all those, and then I started doing, you know, just events and so on. From the events, I've got so many different characters for presenting. There's the sports guy who comes out with energy, and then there's, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual Total 2019 dinner. And tonight we have, you know, and yeah, and then there's the Arabic one, like marhaban bikum ala matni tayaran. You know, like it switches. So it depends where I am, who I'm with, and this is all again back to my acting and my theater. I just enjoy I enjoy making people happy, and I feel like whatever events are being organized or sports or things like that, if I can add to the experience, I would love it. I know you know other presenters in sports as well, and I was so appreciative when you were talking to me about some of them, because I admire them a lot, and I met one of the guys that you know as well, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the tennis presenter, his voice is absolutely awesome. He goes on there and he goes like, "Ladies and gentlemen, the #1 seed, Novak Djokovic." You know, he's excellent. Yeah.
I sent him because I'm really self-critical, because I'm not a presenter at all. I'm not any of those things. I just do something that I love, which is just huge for me. And this is a podcast. The mistakes I make are in, forget my words, forget what, it doesn't matter, because it's all about your story. But this guy, as you said, I sent him a message because we got to know each other. And he sent me the message back. I had tears in my eyes. I literally, when he told me about what I was doing, because you do some soul searching. Is this beneficial? Is it worthwhile? And he sent me something back that I grew 10 feet tall. It was just a message that I couldn't believe. But I went to the tennis and hearing it's incredible. But I love listening to you. I'm getting excited just wanting to be at one of these events and listening to you talk.
I get excited about them just as much as the people that are going there to participate. Honestly, I feel like I am one of the players. I feel like I am one of the people there. You know, like I remember being in the Doha exhibition and convention center, the one next to City Center, when it very newly had just opened, and they had the 3v3 basketball going on in there, and I commentated. And from the very first game I commentated, it's 3v3, there's only 6 players, there's subbing people on and off. I got to know every single player, and it felt like there was some interpersonal connection between me and the players. And as I was commentating on them, the whole arena was interacting with what I was saying. I felt like, you know what, this is how it feels for them, like when it feels for me when I'm watching like an Arabic commentator on football, you know. And I felt, the moment I felt that there's importance to what I'm doing, the more I'm already motivated. I'm already driven. Just like you enjoy doing your podcast and you do it because you love it. I enjoy commenting and presenting. Like I told you, I do it when my friends are playing FIFA at home. There's no audience. But when I felt that those audience are like, I'm giving them a better experience, it just gives you so much more of a drive. And that's that self-determined motivation that I'm talking about. Remember the satisfaction of autonomy, the freedom. I'm doing what I want. No one's giving me a script. No one's telling me what to do, what to say. I'm relating to these people. I love sport, and all these people are here for sport, and they make me feel competent. I feel competent because I know I'm good at what I'm doing. And so that just makes me want to do it so much more. And that is that self-determined motivation.
And it is such a nice feeling. I had a call for 2 hours last night where one of my friends I haven't spoken to for 15 years, and I didn't know he's watching the podcast. I didn't know he was watching this. And he said, do you know something with your guests that you've had coming on the show? He said, I use their stories and I get them to watch the podcast to excite them. And they're into people with learning difficulties, and they're having problems in the community. So he's doing all that type of stuff, and he's trying to help those people, and he's then trying to help his staff. He's got 31 staff that he's dealing with, and he's giving them the podcast, what you're saying, what the people are saying, what they're saying to help each other, inspire others. It's wonderful. And we talk about the guests that we've had on. I know that you're going to know. I know that you're going to know Islam. I know that you're going to know Jamal, the lady Amal, sorry, the lady basketball captain, and now she's a referee, but for 3-on-3. She works with the men's competition. She's a referee for it. You're going to know all those people. What inspirations that you've got. And it takes me on to my next question for people out there that's listening. How big is it? It's like Qatar's a small place, but can you just get over to people how big sport is here in Qatar?
Sports is, I don't know how to say it. It's just a lifestyle, you know. It's people that are not physically active are talking about it. People that are exercising are also talking about it. People that it's the World Cup is coming here for a reason. There's sports going on everywhere. Everybody goes out to play football every now and then. If they're not playing football, they're playing cricket. If they're not playing cricket, they're playing basketball. Qatar is a very diverse community, and every different community is involved in different types of sports. There's opportunities to do sports in just about everywhere. You can go to a park and play football, play basketball. Just bring your ball and there's something to do. It's a little hot now to be outside and doing some sport, but sports is here in Qatar is huge. We come together to celebrate sports so often that, like, remember when Qatar won the Asian Cup? That was such a celebration. What were you doing in that evening? Like,
oh dear me, the thing that sticks out for me, not so much the winning of the Asian Cup. What sticks out for me, and it will always stick out for me, is when the Qatari team won a game and they were getting pelted with bottles. Everybody was throwing water bottles at them. They were throwing things at them, and they had the dignity just to stand there, and they didn't respond. They stood tall. They stood up, they accepted it, and they just kind of went on to win the competition. And that tells me everything about this. This just shows you everything about this nation, and and not just the locals, but everybody, all the expats. And if you ask so many the expats, they're just part of it. They believe that they're part of Qatar. And the sports side of things is a great leveler. It's like I talk about street soccer so much, but it's just one of those things. We've been playing street soccer at Mia Park, and we've had 25 different nationalities playing with us on a daily basis, where there was no kind of, there was no, everybody was coming together, and we'd shake hands with all the young kids and make them shake hands with everybody, and then get the parents involved. It's magical. It is magical here, and because of what's coming, and people like you that get people excited about the game. Oh God, it's just I love sports here. It's just brilliant, and I suppose that's why I'm doing the podcast really. But it's never been something that I've always just wanted to play a part on the side. But now talking to people like you, it's huge. It's huge. The things that people are doing, the people that are making the difference, is just massive here. You said something else as well, which I want to tap into as well, is esports. How big is esports becoming here?
Esports is becoming huge here. I mean, you got some of the biggest competitions going on, and some of our guys are participating. I'm sure you've heard of Ahmed Al-Mghasib. He is a professional football player in Qatar's Stars League, and he plays esports for Paris Saint-Germain. So he's like a top-level athlete and a top-level esports athlete, and I watched this guy play to the point that now Red Bull did the esports FIFA competition under his name. They call it the AA Mghasib back-to-back, which is an esports football competition that Red Bull, now it's Ahmed Mghasib's competition, where you come and you bring a partner, so it's 2 versus 2, and they do the finals in a big amphitheater on a big screen. This year they did it in the Pearl. They had a big amphitheater. They had seats out. They had the lighting. They had major giant screens and big comfortable seats and lighting and everything. And I was there, and the players come onto the stage in front of the audience. They play, and their game is being broadcasted on the big screen. This is like huge. This is big, and this didn't exist at such a large scale the year before, and then the year before that, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew. So like esports is just becoming very big. And Ahmed Rashid is he qualified to the FIFA Interactive World Cup. He represented Qatar in the FIFA Interactive World Cup, and he last time I checked, he was number 8 in the FIFA Ultimate Team in the world. So he's one of the best in the world, and he's here in Qatar. He's organizing these competitions. He's out there, and people look up to him all the time. And esports is growing here, specifically in FIFA, but I know a whole lot of my friends that are playing Dota 2 all the time. I personally am a FIFA guy, and so are a lot of my friends.
Ahmed, he was on the show, the esports guy. It's a big player, like he organizes so many different events, and he is into the sport. And it's going to take Qatar it's going to take the world by storm. I think it's one of the biggest disruptors of sports, because like you said, the footballer that you said, he's pulling in a wage on the football pitch, and then he's also getting a signing on fee for people like
Yes.
it's just incredible. It is just incredible. So and you, and this is why you have got such a role to play in that, because again, I'm wanting you to do that talk again. Hello and welcome to it's just incredible. But there's a serious side to all this. What you're doing to bringing people into that is just immense. Do you realize how big a responsibility, or do you see it as a responsibility? Do you with how you're getting people to participate?
I want to tell you that through Dr. Mahfoud, who was one of the people, he's the person who connected me to you. I realized that sports sports can be such a major vehicle for peace and development. And I see myself as important as an MC to enhance the experience of sport, but also I see it very important that I use sport as a vehicle for promoting peace and development. And here in Qatar, the degree to which sports is being used for promoting peace and development is absolutely colossal. The Supreme Committee for Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy for the 2022 is leaving such a footprint all over the world with their Generation Amazing and their initiatives around the world, and just promoting development and peace around the world through sport and having that major footprint. And this, for me, is the responsibility when it comes to sport, that you can use sport to connect people and bring them together and unite them. How you were having people playing street football and bringing the people together from the different communities and shaking hands and mixing them up in to be playing together in the same team, and then they get to go out together and play that. That is absolutely awesome. Even the United Nations have a sports and peace sector now. And they had that from way back, and they have an annual celebration for the International Day of Sports for Development and Peace, IDSDP. And here they've been celebrating it. I had the privilege to be one of the organizers for it, and I had all the support. I just went to Aspire and I said, would you support such an event? And they gave me the entire dome. And we had the Paralympic Committee. We were focusing on the participation of the Paralympic athletes and individuals with special needs in sports, and female participation in sport, participation of ladies in sports. And we had people coming in and playing basketball on the wheelchair, the professional basketball players. Yep. From the Qatar Basketball Federation, and then guys that are from the Paralympic Committee who are professional wheelchair basketball players, and then the general public, mixed them all together, and then we were just playing wheelchair basketball. You have the guys that are professional basketball players on the wheelchair for the first time trying to take the shot, and they miss the basket completely because the biomechanics is completely different now. And so we appreciate and we start to, become a lot more united and more of one big body together. And there were other things that we did, like goal ball, where it's for athletes with impaired vision. So we had the national team for goal ball, and then we had the general public covering their eyes with eye covers. And there's 2 goals and there's 1 ball, and the ball has a bell in it. And you throw the ball towards the opposite goal, and he has to your opponent has to hear the ball with the bell and then dive to stop the ball from going into the goal. And you watch these athletes perform at such a high level. And I tried it without covering my eyes. I could not stop the ball.
Dear me.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, these guys should be like like this is real athleticism. Like this is, we got to highlight these guys. And yeah.
And this is why we started the podcast, is it we've got to highlight those people, and you, sir, are making a huge difference. It's wonderful, but we have to highlight these people, because what Qatar is doing sometimes, and it's okay, I keep on saying with Qatar, it's not right for them to keep shouting about what they do, because it's kind of, it's a humble nation, right? But from our side, we need to promote everything like this that's going on here, because what they're doing is just incredible. And I'm with you 100%. And any backing that you want from a street soccer perspective, I'm there, because it brings barriers down and it brings people together. And any problems that you had before, they disperse. Next week, I've got a guest on the show who's going to be, he's the president of the Football Association in Delhi. And he's going to talk about how things are developing there and how sport is so important on that big scale. And it's not something they embrace, or they are now so much more, but it's always been cricket. So again, all these sports just help to bring those barriers down. And I'm with you. And I'm so glad that you came on the show today. It's been brilliant.
Appreciate it a lot. And I'm happy to, whenever you're going to do your street soccer, just reach out. I'll come and commentate for you guys one day. Build up for you guys. And you guys, just keep watching Steve. He's awesome.
I have not finished with you yet. So but these are really good things. And again, the show is all about people that's making the difference. My word, you're making a huge one. And so you got into acting then. What happened there? How did you kind of, because I saw some of the pictures that you sent over and it's like, oh, not sure on that look. But this look, I said to you, this look is fantastic. But you're an actor. You're acting, and you've got TV program.
Yes, indeed. I'm doing like I said, growing up, I was doing a lot of theater, and I enjoy being on stage, whether it's presenting or acting. And then I did professional acting courses, and I was doing a lot of commercials, and I wanted to do better. I wanted to, as Abood on the screen, I wanted to be the highest level possible. And from all the work that I was doing, presenting shows for my friends, and doing commercials and advertisements for Ooredoo, the Emir Cup, Vodafone. I actually did Vodafone and Ooredoo. I just tied my hair back and no one recognizes me. Anyway.
Okay. Give us like your voices. I love the voices. Give us one of the voices.
عن السينما بتمام ساعة الخامسة والنصف مساء.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. That's a show called About Cinema with Al Jazeera. I'm hanging out actually with one of my very close friends, and he's also on the cast. He's with me right here. His name's Azam, and he's doing his thing over there. He's on the show as well. We're on every Friday, 5:30 p.m. It's a show about cinema where we act and there's a story, but in our acting and in our scenarios, we give a lot of information about Robert De Niro, Scorsese, action films, horror films, coloring of films, directors, so many things that are in international cinema, Arabic cinema. It's absolutely awesome. Rita Khan is the main presenter of the show. I present the show as well. It's produced by Al Jazeera. It's on Al Jazeera. It's in Arabic. There's going to be some subtitles going on there very soon. And yeah, I got into acting, and then I was fortunate enough to be able to get an audition for that show, and I auditioned, and thankfully I got picked. Producer Imad El-Din, shout out to the guy who...
Yeah, go on, shout out to everybody.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And the very first guys that put me in front of the camera were Filmhouse. I'm very grateful for Justin Kramer, Omar Khalifa, these guys that believed in me whenever I auditioned for anything. I like, you know, a lot of the guys that audition for stuff, they're always feeling very nervous and they have no idea what they're really auditioning for before they go in. And you're given something to perform, and the decision is made based on that, like something that you've never seen before and that you have to perform right there and then. But a lot of the time, the person who's making the decision can see something in you. And I'm very grateful for those that saw something in me, because it wasn't the audition. It wasn't my performance at the audition for sure.
Oh dear! And you mentioned a name there, which was Omar Khalifa, and I've known him for many years. When he was at Al Jazeera, and that is a huge success story. The guy just, it's like he's come from okay, he had a good job at Al Jazeera, but all of a sudden he took this massive risk and went to film house. But what a great guy! He is super, yeah, super guy. I watch him. He's on my Facebook and everything, and I watch what he does. But he's a tremendous guy. But it's one of those things that you just said there, which is really important. And I wanted to emphasize this, was when you said that somebody noticed something in you, and it's like all of us will do that into one stage. And I keep on telling people to do as much as you can, because you never know what you're going to say to somebody if it changes their life forever. And you've got the power as an individual to be able to spot talent and to say something that could push them in that direction that could change their life forever. Absolutely. And you just said it. You just said it happened to you. They saw something in you. But oh dear.
But you gotta believe in it yourself first, though. You gotta believe in it yourself first, and then the other guys are gonna believe in it.
But if you pick, and it's like whether you're picking a basketball up, whether you're picking a cricket ball up, if you feel it, and somebody just gives you a little bit more, like you said, you didn't. I've done it with karaoke, and that's a good example. Awesome. When nobody wants to pick the mic up at first, okay? But when you've just been there for a few minutes and you get that mic in your hand, it's like it's got glue to it. You don't want to let it go. You all want to give it your best shot. But you, sir, are an absolute, and I'm so pleased that you came on the show, because you are an absolute legend. And I'm hoping, I really am hoping that you become one of my good friends, because I want to be your friend. You are one of those nice people that is just doing so much, and I hope, unbelievable. And I'm so glad. Dr. Mahfouz, listen, I'm so glad that he's given me so many guests to come on the show. It's untrue. And I'm glad he gave me your name, because you are doing a remarkable job. But unfortunately, our time has come to an end. But before we go, I want you to close the show with one of your voices.
Alrighty then, this was the podcast with Steve. Thank you for tuning in for Steve and Abood's podcast. Watch this if you haven't watched it. You're going to get a lot of nice gems in here. A big thank you to Steve for organizing this, and Dr. Mahfouz for putting us together.
On that note, everybody, I look forward to seeing you all next week. That was an amazing show. Thank you so much, Abood, and thank you, Dr. Mahfouz. Everybody, listen to us next week. We've got some super guests on, and we're going to have a wonderful time. So join us next week. Abood, once again, thank you so much. You're a legend.